Okay, so earlier today, I made a video briefly saying, if you are more privileged than somebody, if you haven't been in their shoes, then you should not speak on that person. Not negatively. You shouldn't. If you were born into a better life, don't say anything negative about anybody you know you can't understand fully. You have not been there. And people have done this to me. People that live in mansions. Should I name names, Jackson? People with good parents who provide them everything. People who've never had to starve growing up. People who've never seen their dad get beat up by cops and taken from you. And the cops tell you it's better to go live with people that physically hurt you. People will talk. You see how that's not right? You see how that makes you a bad person? Honestly. Somebody named Jackson screamed in my face one time. I was literally being held captive on purpose by people. Jackson didn't know that, I don't think, but I was as a female being abused, and illegally people were controlling things in my life so that I couldn't get help. He screamed in my face, get a job. Okay, that's not okay. You grew up in a mansion. I didn't even grow up having a stable place to live for more than like 3 months at one time. Literally. So, what was the point of this video? To elongate that topic into other topics as well. Holy shit, I forgot. Well, we can sit with that original thought. Well, I try to remember a million things I had to say about it. Yeah, so I saw a post on Facebook, which is just booming with misinformation and false ideologies, false beliefs, false philosophies that are not for the greater good, that can be contradicted, by facts. So, therefore, not okay. Right? So this person was saying, what the fuck was it? Maybe it does not matter. Maybe it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it tied into what I'm saying. Oh, he said, you know what, fuck. My mind's racing now. He said, no excuses if you grew up in trauma. So the mentality that if you grew up in trauma, you definitely don't know what you're talking about and haven't been in the same position. If you're saying something like that about the person, you don't have an excuse. You need to deal with it. No. We can never assume that we know everything about a situation, okay, too? You can't assume that you really know what you're talking about, that you know about the people that you're dissing. Okay? Not everybody is equally good in every area as human beings. So to assume that to begin with means that you've fallen under the mentality that the corruption within the school system has in order to manipulate kids into becoming mentally in a way that causes them to waste their life and play a role in the system that doesn't fully benefit them to stay at the bottom financially, basically, right? These are bad. This is a bad thing. That's a bad mentality to have. But, no, the mentality being spread in all types of ways, especially people attempting to talk about online, to talk about and try to teach other people and spread their word as if they're God and they know what's right. That we should be hard on people, that trauma isn't an excuse. You don't have a heart. You don't have a heart. It's not okay when somebody hurts somebody else because of it. But for God fucking sake, haven't we all been through enough? And do you expect somebody to change when they're thrown hate, an adversary? No. From experience and all the stories I've heard, you know what makes people change when they're intolerant? When they're doing wrong? When you make them feel bad? When you show them the love that they never received? When it comes to racism, a lot of the times in how we've managed to heal it, from the people that I know in generations before. You know what I know? That I've been told and shown is truth. A lot of people were just grown up in a confusing setting and they were hurt themselves. And they were taught to feel uncomfortable and scared of other people. And that's where a lot of prejudice comes from. So when we have, this has been proven, shown them something else and go out of our way, okay, to be a human to them, to take that inner child in a person that's struggling and comfort that and be there. You need compassion and empathy to deal with somebody that's in the state, but all they're being met with is judgment and an abusive authoritarian mentality of fuck you, you're wrong, get your shit together, it's your responsibility. That is not human nature. That is not how we interact with each other. That is what Hitler acted like with his people and so many other groups that are toxic, being hard on each other. No, it's not cool. No. And I talked about this in my last video about reformation and the differences we can change in how we try to tackle reforming people in need of that, right? And we focus too much on punishment and putting that on them, when the people that are a problem are people who aren't set up where one of the things they excel at is being able to deal with the problems that they're causing, right? They need somebody to help them with that, bruh. You know, and that's like what stuff like therapy is for. But oh my god, I don't know. We're all taught to be tough and to handle life in a robotic way. And the main thing is get a job and just deal with everything else. And you know, this ties into my other videos, so this is really important if you watch them. We're taught to keep things to ourselves, and it isn't a problem if you just don't put it on other people or make it a problem. And you'll understand why that is a huge issue that ties into racism if you watch my other videos, okay? But yeah, it's not right. I hope that you guys can see like where I'm coming from with that. You know, it's kindness and empathy that is what we should be proud of for being humans, and we don't have that enough. That's the fight against the system that has put us down for so many generations since the beginning of the system. So it ties into racial issues and everything. It ties into why everybody that has been or is at the bottom of things and doesn't have a rich, perfect life. It ties into why they're there and why it's not okay, it's not fair. It's a faulty caste system. A financial one mostly in America. Not cool, bro. Not cool. But yeah, that's not how we're teaching people to keep things to themselves and meet each other at a cold state of not being able to let each other in as much as human beings should, emotionally and everything. So we're building a distance with each other in order to be able to succeed in life. If that makes sense with what I'm talking about. No. We need to have open ears to people. We need to ask them questions like if somebody's racist, like, why do you think that way? Why do you feel that way? We need to show people differently in a gentle, humane way. That's our job for each other. And then we can have better relationships with ourselves, which is tied into the last thing. I don't know if I posted a video or a short, but like the last thing I posted right before this, okay? So that's what that ties into. If you watched whatever that is. Probably the last video I posted before this one. Yeah. I mean, need I say more? Shit. Hopefully you get the point. A lot of people, they're not gonna because they're stuck in a mental box that they don't want to break out of probably because it works for them. Fine, whatever, but I want more for people. I want people to be healed emotionally and in their traumas. And I think it's fucked up that in this world, we're made to feel like we have to do that alone when trauma is caused by other people, right? So that's something forced into you by another person. To fix that by yourself or with a therapist that you can't have a personal relationship with as well, like whoever traumatized you, just doesn't make sense to me as much as if you were to have a strong support system. And I don't think anybody that I know really does. Honestly. So what the fuck? I look really weird since you can't really see my hair. I look way better if you could see my hair. This whole video is gonna be me looking stupid. Like, y'all, I'm never shaving my head, I promise. But yeah, that's my perspective on things from somebody who has extreme trauma, as told by many therapists, obviously, too. And it is what it is. Somebody who has extreme trauma and was not born into privilege all the time, who was born into chaos and abuse cycles and shit. And my dad had no money. No money. He got kicked out. He was too abused to be able to hop onto life and do good. How can you expect that of a child to be treated so bad and abused, like he was hit and neglected? How can you expect them to go about life and be perfect? And that's how the system is. It expects you to. It will take your life from you. He's a 2-time felon. It's non-forgiving. Non-forgiving. And you're gonna have to watch my other videos, because I want to keep repeating things I already posted in regards to that. Like, the 2 videos I made before the last one, especially, is what I'm thinking about. So, yeah. Yeah, I feel the need to keep talking about it, but nothing's coming to mind. Anybody who's doing wrong, I said this in a different way in a different video, but anybody who's doing something or has an incorrect perspective on life or other people or anything, anybody with a faulty way of thinking, where life could be better if they didn't have that issue, we jump right to punishment. And these are the people, they have these issues because they're not as able to deal with that on their own and heal it by themselves. That's why they end up having the issues. Does that not make perfect sense? It's called math. Okay? Those are the people that need support and empathy from other people and other people to rewire what a different person wired into them. That's the easiest way. And we're completely ignoring that and causing more pain onto people and more fear onto people by taking the mentality and trying to say publicly or to people all these horrible things about it's basically your fault, you're an adult, figure it out, you're a problem, and that's all that is. Your trauma is not an excuse. You know what? Yes, it is. You gotta figure out, it isn't an excuse. You don't need an excuse. Actually, it's a reason. Your trauma is the reason. And not everybody should be expected to be perfect. So thanks, if you're one of the people, you know, be easy on yourself as long as you're willing to change. But if you're one of the people, you know, you're following negative mentalities and being taught to stomp on people based off of the system that I've been talking about in place since at least slavery, that I've talked about in previous videos. It makes you not a good person. You're just as bad as the way you think about the people that you think you're attacking justifiably, but you're not. You didn't end up in the position that they're in. So how dare you judge them? How dare you? Less judgment in the world. More empathy. Empathy means you don't have to understand, bro. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to fucking... You know what, that's the thing, too. It's called double standards. Will you expect something like somebody to accept something that they don't understand without questions, because that's the position they're in, to be intolerant or whatever, or causing problems? They don't understand. There's a difference between those people and people who just don't give a fuck. That's what prison should be for and punishment should be for, when a person genuinely, when you question them, and at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck, they just want to do it, right? A majority of people aren't like that, but we're treating them all like they are. That is almost like, it's so rare that that's the case, bro. So rare. So yeah. Either be a good person or don't. But if you want to put negativity onto somebody, then you're a part of the problem, regardless. No matter what, it doesn't matter if they're the one that started putting out negativity. That means that they need help. And there's so many people that do that. We're clearly, as a people, not going about fixing that in the right way with each other. Okay? It has to be the case, because there's too much of it going on right now. Okay, I'm gonna end this here. Y'all can use this for food for thought. This is good enough. Y'all got it with this. Be nice to people, be patient. You know, it's never the solution to put more negativity. You can take action, and it should never be unnecessarily harmful. We should do everything and find every solution before we harm somebody or negatively affect their life or make them feel worse. Literally. Some of y'all never watch Star Trek in its shows. Some of y'all never watch Star Trek in its shows. But anyway, this here. Love y'all. Bye.